I don't want to say anything to you yet.
Oh, we're live. We're live.
Oh,
Cam.
good. I don't want to say anything to you yet because it's going to be camera.
And there it is.
2.0.
Addicted Fishing is brought to you by Stevens Marine. So huge shout out to Stevens Marine. We appreciate those guys down there. And if you guys need boats, you better hit them up. They can get you all rigged up too. With might have something to do with what we're talking about tonight.
A little bit. I will say I appreciate the fact that my Columbia sled can go as shallow as it can, because I only hit rocks one time when I was avoiding an angler today. But boat performs pretty crazy.
That's pretty insane.
And we were like the only ones doing that.
To run that thing in a river.
And happy birthday, Jordan. He's probably, he was not going to be joining us tonight, but he's probably on his way home from some pretty epic fishing, of course. As you know, Jordan, we filmed it all for you. So we'll see how that goes. He went
fishing today on his birthday. Future addicted life coming.
Yeah, shocker.
Is it Josh's birthday too?
It is.
Yes.
It is Mr.
Happy
Josh
birthday,
Handy's
Josh
birthday
Handy.
too. So if you guys didn't know that, wish Josh and Jordan a happy birthday for us in the comments, please. And tonight, like as you saw in the title, we're going to be talking all things electronics.
Yeah,
we actually are blessed with someone out of the states, or out of the Washington here, from another state. If I could get my words out, I'm tired tonight, guys. Going to be joining us here. He's actually in studio with us, and we're excited about it. We're going to be going over a bunch of cool screenshots on fish finders, talking about trolling motors, potentially some downrigger stuff. We're going to cover a whole bunch of just electronics on your boat and have a good little discussion with you guys and hopefully answer some questions.
Yeah, we did this discussion maybe about 8 months ago, I'd say. Probably 8 months ago.
I feel people asked for more.
Oh man, people went nuts. So we've got some of the old screenshots we're going to run through, but then we also got some new ones for some new technologies that we're going to be featuring tonight as well. So, but I did appreciate a lot of you guys reaching out to me after the last discussion, messaging, asking about products, and trying to guide you guys there a little bit. So feel free, if you have any other questions after the fact too, to answer. But if you have any questions talking about exactly what we're looking at, we always love to see them pop up on the screen. We try to answer them all as we're going to be going through them. But we got some really cool slides, some really cool technology stuff to show you guys tonight, in addition to just a basic rundown of down imaging, side imaging, and 360 imaging. So it will be a pretty cool night. And
it's going to be fun.
Let's be real about it. We've got a lot of big fisheries coming up. It's definitely, a small river tributary time, but we've got sturgeon and kokanee. We're going to be getting set for salmon season. People are going to be looking to do holiday shopping coming up soon. Yep. It's wintertime, time to work on them boats, get everything ready. So should be pretty fun.
Absolutely. Also, we're going to show you guys some new products that we got tonight. Before we get things started, though, I'm going to give you guys an opportunity to win a couple of these new products. So before I even show them to you, if you guys can do us a huge favor, smash the thumbs up on the video if you can for us. Drop some comments below, and then share this out to your family and friends. Message it if you're on YouTube. Share it to all the Facebook groups if you're over on Facebook. Let's get a bunch of people in here tonight talking electronics, and we're going to randomly select someone from the comments to win these jigs.
And Brad R. just asked a good question about the YouTube live feeds showing up on YouTube after the fact. Where can people visit those? Because he said he'd like to watch them a day or two afterwards.
If you want to watch the live feeds after the fact, you just go to our YouTube channel and go into the playlist section. And there is a playlist that says Addicted Fishing Live. All you got to do is head over to the channel, go to the playlist, Addicted Fishing Live, and every single one of the videos will be in that playlist. You can go watch them forever. And you can watch them on Facebook as well.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I'm like, oh, they're on Facebook.
Yep. But, yeah. They're also on Facebook as well, guys. So,
excellent.
Anyway, like I said, drop a comment. Let us know where you're tuning in from. Like, we're going to be randomly selecting someone from the comments to win these twitching jigs. Clint, let's go to slide cam and show some of these new colors, Cam.
And are they 1/4 ounce? No, they're not.
No, they are 1/2 ounce, 3/4 ounce, and 1 ounce. And we have launched 5 or 6 new colors this year that you will have available at a bunch of different retailers, and you can get them on our website right now. They're available for purchase on our website.
4 are new colors, correct?
That's new as well. It's rotated.
Oh, we finally switched it the right way.
Yeah.
Boom, 5 new colors.
So we got over here, that one's got a pearl white head, an orange collar, and a white body.
Good, dirty water, high water. We made hay with this one. Jordan and I went up and did the twitching episodes in Alaska on that high muddy river. That thing was like our #1.
Yep.
Talk about this little guy though.
And then we got the black on black. So this one's all black, and what it has is it also has some purple sheen in it, just some light purple sheen. You can kind of see in the light.
Beautiful.
Absolutely. We've tested the hell out of this thing. It catches coho, it catches chinook, it catches steelhead quite a bit. Steelhead like to eat it. I don't know if they think it's some sort of bug or what the heck they think it is, but they like to eat it.
Couple variations on some tried and true.
Yes, those are obviously some of everyone's favorite colors. You know, chartreuse, black, purple, chartreuse, purple. Some of the best colors you can get in a twitching jig are those. Coho and chinook love those colors, so those are going to be murderers.
And for something bright.
Yep, something bright. Again, murky water. Also, really, really crystal clear water. Those seem to attract fish.
You know, sometimes you want to startle a fish.
Yeah.
Especially on a twitching jig bite. Sometimes they don't want to, you want to like put it in the water and just make it so obnoxious that they just have to hit it.
Exactly.
That's what that was for.
And so you guys can get those in 1/2 ounce, 3/4, and 1 ounce. They're on our website right now. I don't know how long they'll be on there, so you better get them.
And they're gone.
And they're gone.
And we sold those 5 too, so we can't give them away.
No, we are going to be giving a couple of these away.
And I did, and to answer someone else's question, he said, "When's the bee run going to get here?" Soon. Very soon. I think the bee run definitely triggers on some rain. So if you guys think that you have like missed the twitching season or you experienced some decent twitching season a little earlier when the A run was coming, I feel like on the river today, I just kind of feel like we're just kind of in that in-between moment where once we get about a good chunk of rain, get some water level going in some of these strips, I feel like the rain, like even the rainfall we've had, the ground is still just soaking it up.
Yep.
Like we're not seeing any rises in the river.
Even a lot of the like small rivers are not doing anything.
Yeah, they might blip up a little bit, maybe put 100 CFS on, go back down. I don't think we're there yet. And keep in mind, man, there's been a lot of years where we haven't even seen some of these peaks of this bee run well into the 2nd and 3rd week of November. This party is far from over.
It just changes every year based on what we have for weather. Every single year. Usually if we get some good rains in September, early October, by now we got a lot of fish in all the rivers. So, and I think there is some fish around.
There's a lot of fish around, but
being very bitey.
They're tough.
Yeah,
they're tough. Shocker.
Not being very bitey.
Hoping there's a good storm before my trip to Southern Oregon. Yeah, we definitely could use a couple good shots.
I do have the photos queued up. Do you want to try to do those early before we get too busy, and then that we can?
Yeah, we can. Let's finish these giveaways here real quick and do show this other product that I'm really excited about, and then we can do the photos, and then we can bring our guest in.
I gotta do my rant. That's a very important one tonight too, because it's just.
Well, we'll bring him in.
The amount of ridiculousness is unreal. No. This one's good. Trust me. You want to stay, and you want to hear this one, folks. It's just beyond belief. And yeah.
Mike, you ain't gonna catch anything, dude.
Mike, no.
You have to practice more. Fishing is just like anything. If you want to get good at video games, you have to play video games a lot. If you want to get good at fingerboards, you got to play fingerboards a lot. If you want to get good at fishing, bud, you got to actually go fishing.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm not going to say what I'm going to say. I can't. We love you, Mike. Yeah, I think we might get one, Mike. We tested the waters today. Let's just say we work at it. We'll get them. Yeah.
Yes. All right, let's show this new product. So, guys, about probably 3 or 4 months ago, I reached out to a company that made a really cool product that I loved, and I said, hey, man, let's try to do something, work together to get more awareness on your product, maybe put my brand on it, because he sells them, but he doesn't necessarily educate all you anglers out there about this product. So what we did was I partnered with him to make our own version, our own variation, our own colors, and what we did is this is called the Addicted Line Keeper. You want to go to side cam? Cam? And basically, guys, as you guys know, the most annoying thing that you can have happen when you have leader is your line basically coming off of your leader spool. And it falls everywhere, it gets all tangled up, and it's really, really, really annoying. And so these guys created this, what's called the leader keeper, and it has 2 elastic straps that you can basically, you put the thing around your leader spool, and you pull on the 2 elastic straps, and then Cam's going to show you it's got a little plastic piece in the center that the line comes out like so, and then you can pull on each end of the strap. Yep, and you can just like that to pull your leader out, and then you can also go reverse with it and put your leader back on there if you want.
Higher.
Yeah, Yeah, just like that. You can basically re-spool it on your line. And then pull on the straps on each side, Cam. Show them kind of how it snugs down on the spool.
Yeah, you can make them the size you want.
Yep, make them any size you want. That's what I wanted to show. So I got another spool right here too, which we can tighten.
Hi, one more time. I'm gonna throw this at you.
I'm producing. I'm producing.
So as you can see, guys, show them on this one too. That's a really small spool.
Yeah, really thin spool. Here.
So basically, it'll fit on any of them. The elastic straps just tighten down. You put your leader through the hole. They are amazing, amazing little contraptions. So if you guys want to get them, they are available on our website now. We bought a limited quantity from the company, all branded to Addicted in the neon green like that. So go buy them. We would really appreciate it. And I think you guys are going to love them. I've been using them for freaking years. You have too, right, Cam?
Oh, I use, yes.
Or something similar?
Yes.
And all of us have used rubber bands. All of us have used rubber bands. That's usually what I used to use before I actually found these leader keepers. I just hate how they break and they start to deteriorate when they're out in the sun. And then it's just nice to have those forever. They're super awesome. We got a super chat from Corey. He says, Marlon, that orange lettered black sweatshirt you've been wearing. I can't read it. Oh, it's right there. In some recent videos, was that a seasonal drop item or is it coming soon? Corey, that was a seasonal drop item, but we do have some new orange stuff coming on the fall drop. So be on the lookout on the fall merch drop, which is coming very, very soon. We'll announce it soon. There is some orange gear on there. So appreciate the super chat, Corey. Well, that's all I got for product stuff, dude. I just want to let all you addicts out there know about all the new colors of the twitching jigs that we had. The fact that we launched those line keeper things, which are pretty awesome. We also have more kill bags in stock. A lot of you guys have been messaging me on Instagram and stuff trying to get the kill bag. We do have more in stock on the website as well. So buy some stuff from our website, guys. We appreciate it. That's how you guys are able to support Addicted and keep this machine moving along and getting us to make awesome videos for you. What else you got? You got one. You go now. You're gonna turn.
Pick a winner.
You're gonna turn. Oh yeah, true. We should pick a winner, and then we'll turn it from my nice positive.
I know
awesome,
we're gonna go positive
smiles.
to. We're gonna go positive to what the hell are they thinking now to how to catch more fish.
Perfect.
Which is always kind of the basis of our life feeds, right? How to catch more fish.
You know the price on those?
Leader keepers? I don't.
People are asking.
I don't remember.
Jared Watson fishes. No idea on that one.
Sorry guys, that's a major miss on my part not knowing how much these are, but I think they're $6.99 or $7.99. I can't remember. But you'll have to go to the website and see. That's
funny. Yeah.
You need to go to the website and add a couple to the cart, guys.
$29.99. Yeah. No, I'm kidding.
$49.99.
Oh, there we go. They
They
have diamond encrusted.
Dude, with inflation nowadays, we gotta really keep things up there in price. You know?
Yeah, well, gas prices. I mean, geez.
Gas. I heard food too. I heard in the next 1 to 2 months, food is going to go up 30 to 40%.
I'm gonna have to charge like $4.25
a seat.
Thing. Kaplan's saying $7.99.
$7.99. Perfect.
That sounds
I knew
right.
it was $6.99.
How many are in there though?
There's 3.
Yeah, I'll say there's a few in there.
Yeah, there's 3 in there. $7.99, guys. And again, they're a thing that pretty much lasts forever. The elastic strap doesn't really break, and you can have them on your leader spools forever. So we appreciate it.
Pick a person that can fish with you guys, like me. Well, 3 easy payments of $99.90. But wait, there's more.
All right, Clint, pick a winner. They're going to win 2 twitching jigs of the new colors. It will be random. Whatever colors you receive are the ones you receive. Who do we got, Clint? Who do we have? Mr. Scott Beck. Mr. Scott Beck. Scott Beck, you won yourself 2 Addicted Tail-Out Twitchers. If you want to collect your prize, shoot us an email to orders@addicted.fishing. Make sure you include your name, your address, and let us know what you won, which is 2 twitching jigs, and we'll get them shipped out to you.
I feel like since he just got in here and said, "What's going on, everybody?" He probably didn't even know like we were doing a giveaway. So
well,
it's like he just showed up and just like, what's going on, everybody? Oh, I won.
That's how the lottery works too.
That is true. It is random. There you go.
You always hear these stories about people that have like entered the lottery for like 50 years of their life, and then someone just randomly goes and buys 1 ticket. Yeah. Oh, we got another super chat.
Super chat. It says, "Let's go, Brandon."
What is?
Who's Brandon?
Traeger.
Told you.
Where's Traeger?
Hey, first of all, Jared Watson Fishes, thank you so much for the super chat. And I told you before this live feed, then that would get commented tonight. I was like, I guarantee you someone comments that tonight.
They did a super chat.
And not only did they comment, they super chatted it to make sure we said it out loud.
What's wrong with it?
Anyway, let's go, Brandon. Let's continue on.
Yeah,
let's continue
all right, let's go,
on the.
Thanks for the super chat. We appreciate it.
Yes. And Scott Beck is excited. He won his prize.
You called it no clue. Yeah, because he's like, oh, what's going on, guy? Oh, I won. Hey, all right. Yeah, there you go. Well, enjoy the twitching jig, sir.
All right, Cam. What do we got? What the hell is going on
This is new to you because I don't know how much we've been running around like chickens with their heads cut off lately.
I've not been on social media.
Right. So I'm going to back this up 20 years ago and do a little. We're going to do a little wild fish discussion.
We're going 20
again.
years back.
About 20, 30 years ago. Because for some reason, this wild fish group lobby, about 20, 30 years ago, started removing hatchery-produced Chinook smolts, right? Puget Sound, Columbia River. Yep. And what was kind of like the first kind of cause and effect of us losing that production of additional hatchery smolts? Now, keep in mind, we put hatchery
The whales
smolts.
died.
The whales starved.
Yeah.
And they died. And what NOAA came out with in 2018 was this very glaring report saying that you are starving your whales, and the smolt production in the Puget Sound and the Columbia River is lockstep with the production of hatchery Chinook smolts. Let's be honest, due to Seattle, Olympia, Tacoma, like there's completely no opportunity, not the same opportunity
Habitat is not
for
there
habitat
anymore.
to be there for Chinook smolts, so we create hatchery production. But the wild fish lobby 20, 30 years ago, due to feel-good science and a bunch of bull crap, I'm just going to say, I'm going to call balls and strikes here today. For some reason, they decided that they want to continue to reduce those. We've moved fish from these places and that places. We've gotten nothing, i.e. the Clackamas study. They're trying to remove some more summer steelhead for some of the upper Willamette watersheds. It didn't work on the Clackamas. There's a 2018 American fish. 2018 was a really bad year for the wild fish lobby. I'll tell you that much. But the bottom line is the NOAA came out in 2018 and said, you need to put 50 more million additional smolts in the Columbia River and Puget Sound or you will lose your southern resident killer whales. They will starve to death. They will die. I think everybody remembers about 6-7 years ago, the mama orca pushing the dead baby in front of downtown Seattle because the freaking whale starved to death, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, and the Wild Fish Conservancy's infinite wisdom, they have dropped lawsuits now pertaining to saying that we need to do we need to do studies, basically. Pardon my name. I'm really tired. I've been grinding. But we're doing studies saying that they're going to put a lawsuit to try to enjoin the WDFW's management plan with the whales, basically saying, okay, this is what we're going to do to try to get them back. They're trying to basically get that piece of additional 50 million hatchery smolts removed. They're basically saying that that will not cure the whales' problems, and let alone
Who is doing this?
the Wild Fish Conservancy and the Conservation Angler. Two groups filed suit just a few days ago. This is a Northwest Sportsman magazine just published yesterday. And I literally sat there and just when I thought I couldn't read the most damn stupid thing in the world ever. And I'm amazed yet again. So these groups are responsible for the deaths of southern resident killer whales in the Puget Sound. Like, they really, truly are. As we reduced production of hatchery smolt to the guise of their lawsuits and their lobbying, as we reduced that, the southern resident killer whale population declined and plummeted. There's 74 now. And the way that they're fixing it is they're all starving. They've got all these pictures of these whales that were 6 years ago and how thin and emaciated they are. And it's because we're not producing the fish for them to eat.
And we're going to be too late if we don't.
And we're expecting the fact that if we remove those hatchery fish, that the wild fish numbers are just going to magically return, even though we haven't moved downtown Seattle. We haven't fixed we've all read the tire pollution studies.
Yeah.
We've got major intrinsic problems all over the Puget Sound and Columbia River. And yet they had the audacity to file suit 2 days ago asking WDFW to basically remove the addition of those smolts to feed the orcas that they starved. I don't know. It's the damnedest thing I ever heard. What do you think of that?
I think it's insane. And I'm wondering, when are we going to get to a point where someone sues those groups?
Yeah, I think I'm literally at that point. Like, I think there has to be accountability and responsibility to this. And I'm talking accountability and responsibility all the way down to the people that are supporting these groups. Because these groups are getting funding and these groups are getting money from somewhere and someone. And us as sportsmen cannot stand for this. This is a waste of time. We all know it needs to happen. And let's be fair. Some of these wild fish groups, they do a lot of great habitat work. They do a lot of great restoration work. We all want wild fish. There's not a sportsman in the state that would not have nothing more than not have hatchery fish and just have productive wild fisheries across the board. Like, there's nobody who would say no. But yet, it's like these groups want to cause the problem, and then when the state finally gets around to realizing 20 years later we totally screwed up, they want to shoot themselves in the face all over again. It's ridiculous.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, typical. I mean, like I said, just more and more, like, I don't even know what to say.
I thought that the smolts were, like, government mandated. Like, I thought they...
Well, NOAA came out. Page 47 of the NOAA Orca Task Force report said there's like 10 things that they have to do. And this is one of them. This was one part of the conservation effort to do it. And yet, here we are again. And, I mean, and, like, it's just... I don't even know what to say. I mean, there's 1.4 million sportsmen, salmon tags, state of Washington, 7 million anglers, something like that. 1.4 anglers, million anglers, license sales. It's like, why the hell are we even standing for this? Most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. So, anyways, just that's all I wanted to say. Just, yeah, tell you how I really feel. They're a bunch of freaking idiots. It's here we go again. So, I don't know what else to say. More news. We'll stay on this. Try to report what we can. I don't really have anything to do other than maybe email Wild Fish Conservancy and tell me how I feel. I mean, we've got to start doing something. I mean, we've got probably 1,000 of you guys watching here today. Let's start with that. It's crazy. Because if you don't think that this affects, like, if you're sitting over in Spokane or Tri-Cities, Puget Sound, you're sitting down in Oregon, sitting down in California even, or anywhere there's salmon, if you don't think that this affects you, it might not be on your doorstep today, but it will be tomorrow. We keep letting this happen. It's just the absolute most asinine thing in the world. Accountability in fisheries, we need to keep calling for it. So, anyways, that's it.
Okay.
Yeah, depressing.
Can't rant.
No, I don't even know what to say.
A song and an animation.
Yeah, just absolutely ridiculous. Heaven help me if I find a sponsor list for who's supporting those groups. That's all I gotta say. Let's go.
Pretty insane.
It's ridiculous.
Pretty insane.
A new lawsuit. This is what the title was. A new lawsuit aims to halt Washington initiative that's increasing hatchery Chinook production so that more fish are available for starving southern resident killer whales, with shirt-tail benefits to fishermen. Shirt-tail benefits to fishermen. Shirt-tail benefits to the ecology of our streams for other fish species. I mean, it's not just fishermen with the curtail benefits. It's crazy. It's crazy. But it's worked so well before. Let's do it again. Anyways, okay. That's all I gotta say. I'm so pissed off about it, and so just, yeah.
Should we go to people's photos on the uplink?
Yeah,
let's get another giveaway going, and we'll get people commenting while the photos are going, and then we'll bring
Patagonia funds WFC. Well, no one's surprised about that.
Yeah. Okay, guys, we're going to give away 2 more twitching jigs. If you guys can do us a huge favor, and if you haven't yet, hit the thumbs up on the video on Facebook and YouTube. If you guys could hit the thumbs up, it would really help us. Share it out there. Message it to people. Let's get some more people in here. Again, we're going to be talking all about electronics tonight, so if you guys want to learn about electronics, this will be a good live feed to join.
And let's be honest with you, if the wild fish groups get their way, there's going to be a lot less fish. You're going to need these electronics to help you catch them more.
Exactly. And then just
seems like counterproductive. I don't know what to think.
Oh, look at this, Clint. This looks sick as F.
I produced.
This is really
what
badass.
What is going on here?
Dude, he's got the name and everything.
Do we actually have a producer now?
We do. It's crazy.
What did you do with Clint? Where is Clint?
I had a week off.
Where is Clint?
Be quiet.
Oh my gosh.
All right, guys. So we're gonna share some of your guys' pictures here, and again, if you guys want to win a couple twitching jigs, just comment on the live feed, get your comments in, smash the thumbs up, and share it out there.
Fishing.
We got Scott, Mr. Scott. He's got some really nice fish here.
That looks like a very fun river to fish.
It does. Little sled.
What is up with this?
Looks badass.
Yeah, it's like I'm like, damn, good job, Clint. First time I ever heard you say that.
Marco, nice fish.
Marco,
dude.
nice fish, bro.
He's even got email your photos. To order music.
Who is this guy? How many people are impressed with this, like, as I am right now? Marco Rodriguez.
But wait, there's more.
But wait, there's more. Yeah.
Marco.
Kyle.
Kyle
What
Cox,
is-
nice fish, Kyle.
What
Where-
is that?
Looks
I
like he's
can't.
got
Is that
a dick hat on.
quill or
Oh, he told me. He sent in 2 photos. The next one's him too. He
Okay.
sent in 3 photos.
Let's see the next one. Good job, Clint. Hasn't had anything else to do the past week.
Nice.
Oh, there we go.
Halibut.
Best
Rocking the
fish
addicted
in
hat.
the world. Chris says, "I want my photos in red." There's some black rocks. Heck
Heck
yeah,
yeah.
Kyle. Those are
Good
the
job,
fun
Kyle.
ones.
Looks like he's freaking bundled up.
99 Twitch.
Brown,
Twitch
trout.
Pretty one.
I love those fish. They're just so cool looking.
That
Nice
looks
fish, Chris.
tasty. It does look tasty.
Cromer.
Gene, I heard it's been it was really good out in the backyard last couple mornings. So morning tide, you probably want to be there, but you know how that goes. That could change real quick.
Nice one, Anthony. That's a stud fish.
That's a purple back son of a gun.
Yeah. Just a straight line.
Just purple.
It's a small little river, it looks like, behind him. That was all?
That was it.
That was all?
That was all that was in the folder.
You could have told us.
Okay, how many people watching want to win a couple twitching jigs? Say yes or no.
Huh?
Who wants to who
Guess
wants to
there's
win a
nobody
couple
watching.
twitching jigs? How many people do we have, Clint? Scroll
That's
up.
my boy.
It's over here now.
Oh,
Gopher rockfish. I don't know if that's what those
those are cool. Yes, yes, yes. I think there's some people that want to win these.
are. There they are. There must be like a 20-second delay. Oh my! Nice work, Clint. I saw that. I saw it. Don't need to highlight it, Clint. Don't need to highlight it.
We're gonna break the comments.
Oh boy.
All right, Clint. Let's
Scroll
pick
over.
a winner here.
Pick that Marco guy. All right, here we go.
Unimog? Yeah, buddy. Good
There we
comment.
go. Unimog, you won yourself a couple addicted twitching jigs. Shoot us an email to orders at addicted.fishing. Make sure to include your name, your address, and let us know that you won some twitching jigs, and we'll get them shipped out to you. Appreciate it. All right, let's bring in Mr. Special Guest.
Drum roll.
Mr.
Yes.
Special Guest.
I've been practicing my round off back handspring for weeks, and so
Let's see it.
Practicing
No.
how to introduce yourself on
those
Addicted
days
Fishing
are
Live.
well beyond.
On Addicted Fishing Live. So introduce yourself, dude. We appreciate you coming out.
I'm Jeff Kolozinski, and I'm stoked to be here. My day job is at Johnson Outdoors and Hummingbird and Minn Kota, and I take care of some of the marketing duties as part of the marketing team. But this is a trip down memory lane for me because I grew up in, forgive me, Northwest Indiana, but we had great steelhead fishing there.
Okay.
The Skamania strain that we got from you guys. You were nice enough to share them years ago.
They're doing pretty
Coles
well
and
over
shit.
there.
Well, they did.
Oh, they did.
We used to have fish over 20 pounds. So that was like, when you got one over 18, you called your buddy. Anything under that was just like another fish. Fish have been getting a little smaller, but for me to step back into salmon and trout and steelhead land is pretty sweet. So I've had a good couple of days on the river. We're doing good stuff.
Grinding around, playing with some new toys.
Some new
and
toys.
new
That's what this
electronics.
was about. Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
What did you think?
So far, so good.
Yeah.
Like, definitely opening my eyes in a couple situations we're going to talk about here in a little bit. But
So Cam has spent 18 years on this river. And so, well, you could tell everybody at home. I mean, you've watched this river for all these years. High water, low water, lots of fish, not so many fish.
Yeah.
You found them. But then you got mega side imaging. That was
That's
kind of
right.
a difference maker. Auto chart live. Few technologies to help out. But this is a new one. And I don't think you got to really see it yet, did you?
Just in the Columbia when we were playing around with it.
Yeah,
Which we saw one
it
fish
gets better
streak.
than that.
We saw one fish streak.
So for all you at home viewers, Christmas usually comes in December, but today it was like in October
Yeah.
for the guys at Addicted Fishing. Brought the Mega Live unit, and so we were looking at holes and some parts of the Columbia, and let's just say it leaves no doubt if that's a fish.
Yeah, yeah.
That's just, it was pretty sweet.
Well, let's dive in, Cam. What are you going to
Yeah.
start with here?
So what we wanted to do is we wanted to run through. So like I said, about 8 months ago at the start of this, we showed a bunch of pictures, and we kind of want to run through some of those technologies as well, just because that, and then we also have some new additions as well.
We'll save the new one for the end, though.
With the new
We'll
technology.
that's a real
we'll save the
tease.
new for the end. So for those guys that are wondering, these are what these pictures are going to be on, or what these pictures are going to be taken with. These are all screenshots from our Hummingbird Solix fish finder. However,
Did you give the screenshots from today?
yeah, no, I got, and yep, we got those. So that's from Solix 2. So we definitely got we've got 8 new additions to the slide. But
We'll
what
save
we
those
wanted to
guys.
do is kind of roll through some of these ones that we did on the last, just because we've got some really good quality content. A lot of you guys out there probably either haven't seen them or watched them. You can see there on the right. I guess it'd be there, right? Yeah, maybe. I think they're right on the screen. Yeah. So on the right there, we're going to have some images, and we just kind of want to explain through there because, when we decided to do this the first time, we see a lot of pictures and screenshots that people post up on our discussion boards, and then it's, hey,
Look at
we
all
wanna
these salmon.
Look at all these salmon, or what am I missing here, or why am I not getting a bite? Because there's 500 of them under the boat.
Did you catch one of those?
From the surface. I
Been
don't
there,
remember.
asked that.
And you know what I mean? So like, there's always kind of the people that are coming into our discussion boards and coming into our content and wanting to see it. So this is a really good discussion, but we've got the expert with us tonight.
He's like,
We've got the
take a
man
step,
himself.
couple steps
Yes.
back first.
So now we're going to roll through some of these a little faster. We'd love to answer your guys' questions. If you have questions, like, because everybody, if you've been watching this live feed for any amount of time, knows that I will breeze over something that's probably like maybe obvious to me or maybe not important to me, but you might be like, hey, that makes, like, wait, what? Like, why was that? Why did you say that? Like, ask any question, and we'll hopefully answer you guys. We're going to roll through some of these and get to these new technologies.
Dow Jones Industrial, climate,
Yeah.
anything, smolts. It's all fair. Algebra, all fair game.
I was really good at algebra. We can do
I'm
algebra.
glad you are. I wasn't. That's why I'm in fishing. Yes.
Just
Yes,
if I was
that's
not good
why.
at it either.
Hello from the Star Wars ride in Disneyland.
Love
That's
it.
a new one, Ben.
Love
The
it.
new ride is dope.
Whoa,
Anyways.
you need to calm down.
Dude, it's so awesome.
We're not talking Star Wars.
Let's
We're
talk
talking Fish Wars.
I want to go to Disneyland.
Dude, it's so rad.
Really?
Okay.
You want to go to Disneyland? All right, guys. So starting off real quick, like I said, Hummingbird Solix on our right. I wanted to talk a little bit about the differences between, you guys are going to hear us talk about the sonar, and we're going to hear us talk about down imaging. And they are, for the most part, one and the same, except for the down imaging runs a different frequency that's really good at differentiating like the hardness in layers and like hardness in objects. Where sonar is really, really effective.
So
at
proud of you. You
picking
did that so well.
What, am I lying already?
No,
if I'm
no,
lying,
you're-
he can
you're-
smack me.
No.
Right. So, but
So-
sonar is really
I
good
was
at
going to
picking
choke
up.
him out tonight.
Stop it. The line is so long. Hummingbird Solix. Yes, Gene. This is the Solix. These are gonna all be images from a Solix. Damn it! Now I lost. Oh, but sonar is really good at picking up like the air in the swim bladders and those like heavier transitions. When the sound is going through the water column, it picks up, hits that air, and it reflects completely different than a fluid environment. So, but right here on the first picture, you can see on the left, I've got sonar. On the right, I got down imaging. And for the
Maximize
most
that
part,
picture.
yeah. So for the most part, you can see this is kind of what I'm looking for when I'm doing in the fall salmon fisheries. There's obviously a little current. It's just such a good picture because you can see that squiggly line on top is for all those that don't know what a 360 fisher or 360 Super Series flasher is. You probably need to go back and review like all of our YouTube content for like the last.
Hey, we got to see that
years.
last night, didn't we?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
That was pretty sweet.
We'll get to there for sure.
See, that's that's another tease right
new
there.
new.
Yeah.
The new. But for the most part, you guys can see my gear and that little ball of stripes and lines like right underneath that line.
Oh, look at
that is
that
a nice school
Come
of
on.
salmon. Nice
It
school
is.
salmon, and you can see how it's registered on the down.
How many
imaging
salmon
as
are
well.
right there?
Well,
It looks like
Oh wait.
so we're gonna talk about. Well,
looks like 2 sonar, technically.
No, right down imaging for sure. But what we're gonna here's the thing: at 25 feet with a wide angle, you're only seeing about 1/3 of that depth for that cone. That correct? I mean,
Yeah,
just
so
like a little
that's the
less-
bottom
little
coverage
less
in
than-
that part. Yeah, on a
Yeah.
sonar.
So at 25 feet, I'm only cutting a path that's maybe 8 foot wide, and those fish are in that path, or in that cone where it's going to register back to the finder. Now it's different if it's down at 50 feet because you're going to have a wider, you have more depth, so you're going to have a wider area of searching. So when I see something like that at 25 feet or 20 feet or even shallower, I have to understand the significance of seeing that many fish on that shallow of the cone. So yeah, you're probably marking 4 or 5 fish there, maybe on the down imaging because it has a little different sonar ring or different frequency. It could be showing something different, so you're going to see a little bit different between the pictures, but that's a mess of fish is all I really want to say in this.
Yeah.
Would you say anything like talk about this?
Yeah, what is all that?
So down below is a current disturbance, and so this happens to be in the buoy 10 fishery.
Is that also temperature? Is it like a murky thermocline down there?
It's probably like an outgoing tide or an incoming tide blowing
Salt
over dead water, or
okay.
salt. It's some kind of major transition line, and on a lot of other finders, you'll see that kind of show up as a lot of little tiny, upside down or frowny faces, right?
Arches.
Arches.
Sure.
Little, yeah, much better word. See, that's why we have the expert in here.
Upside down frowny.
Yeah, upside down frowny
They
faces.
should be happy faces.
Maybe I
when you
should
see
say
the
arches,
fish.
but some people might
Excited.
not know what arches means. But no, that's just a lame excuse for that terrible.
I guess when I was,
Description.
so the disturbance,
Right.
but then these red lines in here too, like there's a little red there. Would you say that could be a fish down there or no? In that stuff.
Not being there, not on the water when that one, I would say definitely yes.
Could be.
Unless with some piece of structure that's sticking up in that. And so
You
obviously
can slightly see something red on the down imaging too,
Yeah,
so you know something's there, but that's pretty hard to identify whether that's a fish or not. The reason Cam knows that school is because he's caught enough of them enough times seeing that where it's like, okay, that's a school salmon.
If you've ever been on my boat and I ever told you to watch the rods, and then 5 seconds later we got bit, it's because I saw that.
Yeah.
At that depth, at that at that right thing. So pretty cool little side by side screenshot. Go to the next one there, Clint.
Yeah.
How would the system work in the Puget Sound 100 to 200 feet of water? And Gene, I've got just the guy to answer for you.
Lovely. Even with the standard out of the box transducer, you're going to get good bottom contact. Obviously, the number one thing when you mount the transducer is to mount it in a place where there's not any bubbles going down, the hull, right? So you want to get some nice clean water so you get good bottom contact even when you're up on plane going. But even with the out of the box transducer on any of the Helix series, certainly Solix, for sure Apex, 200-300 feet of water, no problem. So you'll be able to see bottom.
And one thing, Gene, with like knowing where you're at and knowing where you're fishing, like I just installed an Apex with the chart plotting and just
Last
everything. Yeah, literally 2 days ago. But the screen, we could maybe talk a little about screen resolutions.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing what you're doing and where you're doing it, like you really need to look at that unit, and I could maybe give you some guidance on that. Just what I've seen in the last few days. Yeah,
Cool.
Can you point to where we're talking about on the images? No, because our producer has not.
He
figured
did
that
pretty
out
good so
yet.
far.
No, we can't point.
Yeah,
we don't know how to do a
point.
pointer. Have you asked that company to add something like that?
He's
That'd be
got
a good
mouse
Producer,
already.
produce.
Oh my god.
You know what I mean, Clint?
You
That'd
are
be a good thing to ask.
producer.
I can do it if I share the desktop. So
No,
The mouse is
you're
working
doing
over
fine.
there. At least for us.
Cam just needs to do a better descriptive of where he's talking.
Yeah, I guess so. Once again, so
Go
on
Max,
this
go
picture, I want to answer this because this is. He's on the next. What? What's wrong? We good?
Yeah,
They're great.
I
I got a question for you. So, what's the reason in selecting a color palette, reds versus blues or greens? Now, I've had my
That's a good
reason,
one. That's a great question.
but I want to ask
Paul
Mr.
Schmidt.
Jeff.
Props. Here's the deal. So your eyes are different than my eyes. Yours are different, right? So we all see color differently.
Mhm.
Plus, in just the daylight, it's easier to see some colors under bright sun.
Yeah.
Harder to see other colors. And so really, you're going to pick a color palette that your eyes can see best. That's it. There are times when in low light, very cloudy today, typical Northwest, like rain, low overcast. There's a lot of people that see blues better on that color palette, right? Bright sunny days, a lot of people see amber or the yellowish kind of color. So you pick a color palette that you like. If you look at this color palette, it's night. It's on night mode, right? So if you're coming back to port or if it's just black, you can choose that as back. So if you need to not blow your eyes out in a bright color, that's a great color to pick, especially at nighttime.
I didn't even know that there was a night mode until like 3 days ago.
Yeah,
And
press
someone
bar
was in my
button
boat
and
and they were like,
bam.
Yeah, you can't stand it.
Clint
just
did it. Clint's like,
night blinds.
why don't you
yeah.
put this thing in night mode? And he puts it in night mode, and I'm like,
See, that's the tech guy you guys were dissing this whole
Yeah,
tonight.
I'm not the nerd guy though. I'm the fisherman that like
Yeah.
puts the unit in his boat and goes, you know what, this thing's gonna work badass. I don't need to do anything to it. The unit's in the
So
boat.
you hit on like the
Cam's the guy that goes into the unit and figures out every single little tiny setting. And he got in my boat and made one switch, and it was like night and day.
It is. The funny thing is, we put so many features and so much performance into all the units that most anglers use like 10 to 20%, you. And here's it's not a problem. It's a really good thing. The Hummingbird performance out of the box is really good. You don't really have to tweak it very much, if at all, ever. Sure, you can make some adjustments.
But you have the
whatever.
option and the
Sure do.
opportunity to fine tune it.
Right.
And
But as a
there
result,
are-
people don't go too far in the menus.
No, they don't. And it's very also easy and simple to use too, because the other thing is when you install it, you can do like a custom installation or an angler installation.
Yes.
And basically it sets the menus to where it makes like a super ease of use. And I finally understood that installing both those units a couple days ago, because I did angler on one and custom on another. That's why ours were so different. Way back in the day, when
So
yours was
angler
like
mode.
when yours was like saying wide angle, but mine was actually giving like the kilohertz.
Yes.
Yeah. So there's a few things that jump around that, but honestly, but angler mode, like
Angler mode is
it's
everything
like,
is kind of
what are you-
optimized in the whole thing. So it takes away some menus that you don't really need to mess with or feel like you're complicated with, right? So it's angler mode. But if you want to go custom, you can tweak that thing into your heart's content. And the best part about it is if you get lost or whatever, you just hit the restore defaults option. Everything goes back to how it was in factory settings. And you don't lose any waypoints. You don't lose your routes or your tracks or anything like that. It just goes back to the original factory settings.
Gene, the Helix, the Solix, and the Apex does do that. The different color, and you're going to see a lot of pictures on my Solix here, where the bottom contouring, where I shade them. I've got some that do focus a little more on that here, just coming up real quick. Going back to the color thing real fast, though, I also heard, tell me if this is true, because just lay it at me straight, that if for guys that are using their finders potentially 200 days, 250 days a year, that if you run a white screen, it's a little more labor intensive for the electronics, like producing white versus producing black.
It takes more power to put that much light through the screen. So from that perspective, from power management or power use, that's
like just
that's what
where
it is.
like where on the bulb or where on the screen.
No.
So I've kind of heard that, but I like as you can see, I like the black and red, because when that little red thing starts flashing, I know it's time to get real. Time to get real. I saw another good question. Does the kayak bouncing around in the surf and swell affect actually of transducer returns? And you will see in some of these pictures, TJ, where like the bottom looks like it's really wavy, and it's actually not. It's sand flat, but it's going to be from that. So you will get, you're going to get that action if you.
We got good questions.
If your boat moves a foot up, it's going to raise, make it look a foot deeper. I mean, there's no way. I mean, maybe there is a way. I don't know. There's really no way for.
Which is TJ. I mean, here's TJ McNamara asking. does a kayak bouncing around in the surf swell? Will it affect the accuracy of your transducer returns? Answer is not really. You should keep the bottom. What you'll see is the bottom will be kind of wavy looking like that. Every time the kayak goes up on a swell, obviously the distance between the kayak and the bottom is different. So it shows that. You come back down the swell and it shows that. That's why the bottom.
The finder doesn't know that it's gotten deeper, but it has gotten deeper essentially because you're moving around.
Correct. Yeah.
We've been so damn scared to touch anything on a new Hummingbird. Well, Brandon, you probably, like you said, you probably don't have to. But if you do and you get a little creative, factory reset.
Yep.
You start over blank slate. Yep.
Where's Gene Stridler? I saw it. Does it map the bottom in different colors?
Answer that, and you can see so we got
Bam,
one right here.
right
now,
there.
Real fast, because
Teed up.
this is going to have some reference totally to nobody watching. This, if you remember
beautiful.
Last night where we went real quick.
Is that what we did last night?
And we went real quick, and we looked
No way.
in that deep, dark little hole
Yes.
against that bank.
Yeah. Oh.
This is what I was hoping to see. So
we did not see that last night.
We did not see that. I was really disappointed I did not see that. But
all right.
the good news is because what we basically did last night, guys, is I've been running these guys around playing with some of the new technologies. And we went to this exact spot last night. But as you can see, I've got sonar on the left, down imaging on the upper right, and bottom contouring on the lower right. When I went to this spot, there was none of those blobs and none of those marks last night. We didn't even drop a line. I was able to save ourselves a couple hours worth of fishing, working through the run, working through the hole, because they weren't there. And I'm confident enough in the electronics to say, they're not there, we're moving on. That's the exact
So that is the one thing. Boy, getting comfortable with your electronics, and I realize it's kind of a nebulous thing. It takes a while. You got to go practice, whatever else.
Yeah.
But if you go up to a place on side imaging, you don't see anything, or down imaging, or sonar, and you don't see anything, go on to the next place. Literally, you should see a fish mark. You should see bait. You should see a piece of structure. If there's nothing there, move on. And that's one of the best things about the river. So we were talking yesterday, I don't know if we could say the river we're fishing, but it's a local river. But we went from hole to hole to hole, and it's a river you could see the other bank, right? I mean, it's not like miles and miles across. But there's a real advantage to knowing how many fish are there, or where are they at in the hole? Are they milling around,
where are you going to
whatever?
spend your time fishing?
Correct.
I'd like to spend it on fish.
I do too. So this one, anyway, back to our question, which was, does it show the bottom in different colors? Answer is yes, and you can select those colors. What we're looking at is AutoChart Live. It's a program that is offered into your Hummingbird units. When you buy it, it's in there, and you can record, 20-ish hours or whatever, you can make your own custom lake maps. So you may be on a delta that may have been switched around from a storm or tides or whatever else. You may be in a river, which under high water, a hole got blown out and now a new tree is there. You can make your own map, and all that you need to do is go in your map settings, turn on, if it's a Solix or Hummingbird, or a Solix or a Helix, whichever. Go in and turn that feature on, and basically it just turns your depth and your GPS into a map. And that's what we're looking at there. So that was a map that Cam made.
Yeah, and that little area there is like an unmapped, kind of a weird spot, not a lot of traffic. And so it was just kind of like one of those things where if you just turned on that AutoChart Live and rolled around that hole a little bit, I wanted to find where that concentration of fish. And just because of the conditions, the fish were obviously, as you can see, stacked.
So
right in the bottom of that hole, and they weren't anywhere else.
I want to show everybody the red lines are your tracks, right? So you were going back and forth over that, and that's what you used to make.
I might have been trolling there before I decided to
maybe
go into that
theoretically
did a few laps.
But the nice part is, so you can make your own custom lake maps, and if you want to spend many hours or an entire season, you just get an extra SD card. It's an accessory purchase from Hummingbird. It's a 0 lines SD card, and with that you can literally record around the clock for like 10 or 20 years. You'd never fill that card up, but that way you get to save the data and you can put it on different units or whatever else. You could also mail your buddy a file if your buddy like really did you solid or whatever, like Clint, Clint's piping up. He wants your map.
Dude, would you like my waypoints too?
Yeah.
How much for Cam's waypoints? Anyone at home?
I wouldn't even know how to probably use them, but
I should sell my mapping. I mean, I have turned on my auto chart live every day for the last 3.5 years that I even touched the Columbia River. Like, I've got some stuff. I've got points, underwater
You're
points,
so
and
hard.
anchor spots that are not on Navionics. They are not on.
They're on mine.
They're
And
on
that's
those
the one
spots.
thing. That's kind of why we
Because
did
things
that.
change.
Well, they do. And
Shut up.
um,
Hit you. Yes, different colors for different depths. Yes.
I saw a
Chris.
couple questions. Do
Yep.
transducers wear out?
no, but they do. We went over some gnarly stuff today. I was really impressed with Cam's boat.
But it hit some gnarly stuff.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
And that's when you can smack it on a rock or whatever else. And that's about the other time. Other than that, they really don't wear out. No.
Can you transfer data from other units to Hummingbird?
Why do you want to know, Nick?
Nick pop off. Nope.
Why do you want to know, Nick?
'Cause
Yes,
you
you
can,
can
yes.
for a price.
You can, yes. And it's an easy process.
Oh, what's the availability of the system? Is there a problem getting them? Also, does it do a 3D? You want to talk about Mosaic? You want to talk about... I mean, we didn't get into any of that on the last run around, and that's a little...
You want me just to keep
Yeah.
firing through these then?
Yeah, you
I
guys.
That's
do,
fine.
yeah,
gotta
because
get
we
through the
need to
pictures.
get to the new stuff, but this is really good. Just asking. I don't know how much is in your wallet tomorrow, bud. We'll talk. School of Bait.
Yeah, bring some money with you tomorrow, dude, and we'll talk about it.
School of Bait right there on the right with a couple salmon sitting underneath it. You probably all can guess where that's at. Doing a little channel troll. Another one. Oh, so
Ooh,
this.
yeah.
So on the right side there, you can
Wow.
see my
You just got looked at.
360 action. And as you can see, once I noticed I had a follower, the squiggly line is my flasher. That red bar that goes below and then up and then underneath it again, that's a salmon. And so this is what I wanted to just show people, like when you're 360s,
That was a
super
flyby.
series. Yeah, what I did is you can see
Slowed down.
I slowed down to try to get him to buy, and then it was like the wrong timing because he shot up by it. Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember if I got him or not. But
You successfully dodged that fish, Cam.
that's
You were
my-
playing keep
you know
away
what?
and you
There-
won.
Yep, there are less fish to clean at the dock.
That's
You do
how
that,
you
that's
do it.
perfect. I saw the fish coming, and
It's Almost Catch and Guide Service by
Yep.
Cam Black.
that's right. Team almost.
But there's some of the colors on your map there too on the left.
Yep, we're just doing some deep water channel trolling there. A couple big sonar arches all over the place. Some 360. Tried to speed up to get us entice a
That's a little
strike.
ball of excitement down there close to the
Oh,
bottom.
yeah.
Looks good. Those are
Yeah,
good.
it does.
Fish dodging. That's all I ever do. Joshua. Sometimes it does seem like now this one I killed. I remember this one solely. This one came
Wow.
from the bottom. If
Yes,
people
it
don't
did.
think that fish swim up
How deep
20
was that?
feet to come up and whack, go to the beans.
Gosh.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, so squiggly line, 360 fishing, bottom fish, bottom solid red band is a fish coming up to whack it
Just
from
keep 'em big.
45
As
feet
you're
to
going through, just keep 'em big.
25 feet. Look at that. That fish saw it, came up, look, came up, pow. I have another-
Crazy.
Ugh. That's the power of a flasher, isn't it? You're 45 feet
Oh,
down.
yeah.
That fish saw, felt vibration. I don't know what it was, but that
This is a flasher.
that made
that's
it
a
move.
flasher, and
That is a, don't know what that is. What up, T-Mac? 20 feet is nothing. Tuna will come up for 100 bait on the surface. I don't
I
know
like
about that.
tuna.
Now this right here was a fish that I did catch. On the down imaging side, on the right side, you can see the flasher there. And like I said, sometimes the down imaging picks up the flashers, and sometimes the sonar. Because if I remember right, down imaging has more of an oval shaped sonar that's a little wider than like a 200 kilohertz sonar. So when you're on like a 455, I believe they're different sized. Is that?
They are in different attributes too. So the down imaging typically is a higher frequency. So that's where you get the detail. So we went over some things today that really looked, or actually last night, that you could see, and the day before we were fishing for small. Do I get to tell where we were, and maybe not? Do I tell what
Oh, we were kokanee fishing.
We were
Yeah.
kokanee fishing,
Yeah,
so there we go.
Yeah.
So in that particular body of water, there were things that were trees, and you could see those, right? I mean, you could see every detail on tree.
You have
every
some
limb,
pictures
everything.
like that in here, don't you?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, we'll get. Yeah. But,
So that's the benefit of down imaging. It really gives you the detail. Plus, sometimes when you look at sonar, because of just the physics. It's not anybody's sonar versus another one. It's just the boundaries of physics. It doesn't give you the detail, which it's great at showing things in the water that are not water, right? So there's a sound pulse that comes out of your transducer, and it goes downward toward the bottom. And guys that paid attention to math when I was out fishing, they know exactly how fast sound goes through water, and it's expected back. You know, and when it gets bounced off of something, there's some math done to figure out how deep it is. But it doesn't give you the detail. It gives you great interruptions in that sound signal. So looking, as you have been, at side imaging, or excuse me, at sonar and down imaging, really tell you if there's something in the water, but the down imaging gives you confirmation, a little dot there, that it is a fish, or the great detail on a piece of structure.
If you guys can remember what those salmon blobs look like in that hole, you can really differentiate what we're going to see here in a couple pictures coming up. So just try to take a mental image of that picture and like what he's saying, that sonar, but down imaging gives you the detail, and you could probably count the individual fish on the down imaging, where the sonar was kind of just woven together. This picture here, as you can see the squiggly line in the bottom left corner of the sonar there, and then all of a sudden there's a fish following, and then all of a sudden the wiggling stopped, and then that arch starts getting ripped to said surface.
What happened there, Cam?
I think something important happened.
I think so too.
Something happened.
Yes.
I don't know. No, I think the fish struck that, and then when we started dragging him up to the surface before he realized he was hooked, he showed up on the actual sonar arch, and I was looking down at the sonar when I was obviously probably had that bite, and I was like, no way, and I saved that picture right in the middle of the fight.
Love it.
But definitely a cool shot because you can see when they connect.
What do you think? What is this little like underwater tree waterfall looking?
So
disturbance?
that is what I'm sure is probably another boat next to it. So you'll get that vertical disturbance a lot when you're around other boats, and knowing that fishery and where that's at, actually it's at Tongues Point, so that probably was the case.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. Thank you. Next.
You'll see another couple.
Next.
Right, and so here we go.
There's a
The
DI
sonar versus DI picture right here. And it's not the best DI picture I've gotten there, but you know, on the left side on the sonar, you
just
see
as
that
explaining.
there's something there. There's stuff there, and on the down imaging, due to the higher frequency, you can absolutely tell that those are
Pick out
trees.
the details. Yes. And the best part you can pick out is what's above the trees, because that's what we're chasing.
Yep, and them are kokanees.
They
You can see the
are
treetops there,
pure yum.
on the down imaging, but you can see that they're just something in sonar. Do the fish hear or feel the sonar, Jeff? That's a great question.
Yeah, I swear I can hear mine like clicking.
You can, and they do. There are times when people in super shallow water will turn off their sonar. They feel like they're getting a jump on the fish. Sometimes in highly pressured areas, people will turn that off. And again, in very shallow water, most of the time, if you're in 4, 5, 10 feet of water or less, it doesn't matter one bit. But knowing what's down there is a big benefit. So keeping the sonar on is a pretty good thing, actually.
I like it.
That's a good question, Don. Best question of the night.
Gene, it
That
worked
was a
great
pun.
for lingcod because when I fish them for lingcod, I can tell when I'm over the rock and I can tell when I'm over the sand. And we know where lingcod live, at least for the most part. Up shallow. Downrigger, kokanee action. See the little red blobs.
Oh, look at that.
I've got both downriggers working through them. Pretty cool.
Cam, why do you use a downrigger?
Because you can obviously see that all these fish are
140
between 30 and 45 feet, and I really like all my gear to be between 30 and 45 feet by judging by those.
Yes.
By the downrigger ball. Same thing with that picture. Those kokanee, when they are balled up, they're going to be in a line. There's actually 2 different species of fish right here in this picture here. We've got some pike minnow, which don't really register, and they ball up a little later on later on in the spring. Those are kokanee all right there. But you can see like kokanee love to stay in a certain kind of depth range. And I use my cat and downrigger to stay in that depth range.
Having the control over that depth and knowing that you're exactly where the fish are. So, okay, the benefit of using sonar is where you figure out what depth the fish are at, right? Mm-hmm. So there you go. It's obvious. Let me look. You're just under 50.
Keep your gear there.
That's it. So you have to be in control. You have to be in control of the depth and the speed, and that's why we use downriggers. And I think we had some Canon Optimums on that boat using that one.
That
extra
was a little
there.
close to the tree, and so like if I wasn't running this picture, just wanted to demonstrate if I wasn't running the down imaging on the right side, I might have seen that sonar arch, but if for those that fish my local lakes up here, and I'm sure most of you guys, if you are kokanee fishermen, know where we're at. You got to watch out for them trees. And as you can see there, I kind of panic moded, and as that downrigger ball got close to the top of that tree, I ripped it up an extra 10 feet just to make sure I was safe and so I can keep fishing.
Sometimes you can speed up if you're in time, and then the downrigger balls will lift up a little bit. But yeah, boy, those are trees.
And once again, this is another thing that demonstrates why the downrigger is so important, because if I'm using lead and trying to monitor my speed, if I go a little bit too slow or let out a little bit too much line, where am I at? I'm in the trees.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm just right, I'm catching fish. If I'm going a little too fast or a little too less line let out or a little too light of lead, I'm above them. You have to be in control of your gear if you want to be effective.
So here's the funny thing, you know, obviously you said these are kokanees, but typically when you're running downriggers, and so for me and my upbringing in the Great Lakes, there aren't any trees in Lake Michigan, right?
Yeah.
Lake Superior, none of that. So it's kind of cool to see. This is what you'd see like in a southern reservoir of striper fishing. So our friend Bill Carson is an expert at that, and I'm really used to seeing trees and how fish relate to them. But it's the first time for me that salmon relate to trees. And, you know, we went over some areas where there was a lot of deep water. You found trees that topped out at 50, 60 feet down below. But that's where the fish were stacked up. And I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why, but there was a correlation, and we caught them.
Hey, Colo, way to run deep. Hashtag Canada Downriggers. Brandon Harris.
That's
Braden Harris.
Only way to run.
Love my DJ. What are you doing?
Just going through.
Oh,
them.
going through them.
They're A, B, C, but they're very similar.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Keep rocking. Yeah.
There's some trees.
There's some trees.
That is.
Imaging.
Wow.
Keep in mind,
You know
too, this is with a Gen 1 Solix, too. You guys are on Gen 3 now.
We never rest.
No, yeah.
Never rest. I want to go back to something, though, because
I am sold, Cam. I will bring cash, great input tonight.
love it. The baits we use for the kokanee were really small.
Yeah.
So, you know, earlier when I asked kind of a totally loaded question, why would you use a downrigger? You know, we're fishing for kokanee that are from here to here, right? That size. But the baits we had are really small. There's no way you can get a bait that deep, 40, 60, 80 feet down. And that's why, you know, being in control of the depth and the speed was really working yesterday. And that was fun. We worked pretty good.
Yeah, it's almost like in a lot of our lakes around here, it's really hard to even be in the game if you don't have them.
No.
It really is.
You could not do that without a downrigger yesterday.
No. No, we would not be effective. Now, let's talk about some side imaging.
I heart side imaging.
Yeah, me too.
I do.
I think it's awesome.
What is the fluid that leaks out of the transducer where the cable goes into? Are those fluid-filled transducers?
I do not know this. I don't know if
goes in.
I wonder if that you're getting some water seepage that's going in and then it's draining out.
That sounds like a really good question for Google. Mr. Google was going to help you. There's going to be some forum. There's going to be somewhere where someone's had a
fully
similar issue.
understand the status there.
For leaky transducers. I don't know.
Oh yeah, maybe.
And real fast.
Take this pill for 10 days. and your
Oh
transducer
my
will-
gosh. Why, when trolling fish at 30 feet, would you want to troll right at 30 or would you prefer to be above or below?
Right.
I prefer to be lightly above, Jose, but
Yeah.
it depends on the fish. I'm sure there's some other fish that you might want to approach differently, but my presentations, I always like to be just slightly above. Let's see here. So, yeah.
Joseph Ogusnev. Best pun of the night. I love sonars because now I catch as many tree pounders as he wants. Wow.
Well, if you go to Merwin...
Dad joke of the night, Joseph.
Go-
Nice work. Nice work.
Go to Merwin and drop your down here below 60 feet and get ready to donate gear.
Trees. 2 tree pounders, eh?
2 tree pounders. Side imaging over here on the right side on that upper screen, you can see the boat at the
So
top center
yeah,
of the page.
leave your cursor there, and hopefully all the at-home viewers can see
the
it.
cursor.
Darn
I
it!
know,
So if you look
it's
to the right of the
really
image, you're going to see a white blob and a black shadow back there. And so sometimes when you're looking out to the side, the sonar pulse, the energy, that sound wave, hits something and it gets reflected back. So that's what you're seeing in a light color there, Cam. But beyond it, that sonar didn't get beyond. And so the unit paints in a shadow. So as you get farther out away from the boat, especially over hard bottom, if you look for shadows, you can find fish in bait schools in the other way. Typically, like in the water column where it's dark there in the middle of that screenshot, That's the distance between your transom and the bottom, right? And it's easy. There's a little dot there on the left-hand side, I see. It's easy to see fish there, but a little harder when you see them out to the right. So I want to call everybody's attention to that bright mark and then the shadow behind it. And we saw some moving shadows today on Mega Live that were just electric. I'm sorry, it was another tease. That was another tease. That's the new one. Sorry.
There's some more. Keep going. More side imaging. Now, I want to get, because I know we're going to get to a couple more juicier ones. There's the shadow of the 360 flasher portraying to the bottom there. Keep going there for me, Clint. We're just going to roll through side imaging unless I see side imaging questions.
Ooh.
Bunch of shad.
On the left.
Bunch of shad. Anchored up, left side of the boat. People can probably guess. Oh,
What's a big...
What's that?
Is that? Is that a little... Is that a prehistoric? Everywhere. Oh, my gosh. Yep. Yeah, that's a sturgeon, Cam. That is a beautiful detail, and that's one of the nice things about, especially the mega side imaging, is the detail that you get. I see a dorsal fin. I see the tail fin.
Well, you can tell the whole direction. I mean, it's incredible.
It's amazing. Sure, it's a big fish, but listen, anytime that you have confidence in your sonar by seeing the detail, look at that. You know those are fish, right?
Absolutely. There's a couple sturgeon. Keep rolling. Side imaging.
Wow.
Really crazy marks, huh?
So that's 10 feet deep, and it's 80 feet, 60 feet away from the boat. Are you catching those fish?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, we're up on the flats there.
Check that off my species list.
Sturgeon?
Yeah, I think we need to check into that.
See you in May. June.
Look at that. So that's another one. So you can see the shadow on that sturgeon on the left, right?
The side imaging work well for 200 feet of water.
It does not work for 200 feet down. 200 feet away from the boat.
Good for marking structure.
Correct.
And so, like, if you want to get into like 200-foot situations, like one thing that I do, and one thing I'd recommend anybody utilizing the Hummingbird side imaging, is when you're trying to detect snags or you're fishing certain channels that are snaggy, and you're going through, and as you're cruising down the road, if you turn your side imaging on, you identify stumps, pilings, stuff you don't want to. By touching the screen and stopping on that snag,
you can scroll back.
You can go back, but you can also waypoint where that is on the map, and the Hummingbird unit will move that target over, whether it be 40, 60, 80 feet over.
Yes.
And it'll mark that target for you. And so, therefore, you can find those snags without actually finding them with your gear and going over the top of them and identifying them. So sometimes... that's kind of the only time I really use my side imaging out past like 100 feet, maybe 150 feet. Right. It's just when I'm just kind of like out there, just kind of looking for some stuff, looking, maybe trying to find good troll lanes, avoiding snags, or trying to honestly target some areas for anything from smallmouth bass to walleye or anything else like that. If you want to find the structure, it's a good way to find it.
So, you know what, whether in a river, it could be something like you just said, that you don't want to fish there or that you need to mark and navigate.
That's what I use it for a lot.
Yeah.
It's just trying to find that structure.
And, with the Solix that you're running, you just touch the screen and press it and hold it, and you can mark a waypoint on the helix. You hit the mark button, and then you can...
And it offsets off your track, like from where you're at. If you're like 60 feet over, if it understands where your GPS point at,
that's too small.
I think those are all too big.
No, that one down on the bottom right's too small.
Keep going, sturgeons. We all like the sturgeon pictures. I don't know why I didn't take any this year.
Probably too busy catching them.
I probably was. Some off the bottom a little bit.
That's kind of cool.
Big. Let me.
I have the Hummingbird with some of the original down imaging. My wife is watching with me. She thinks we need to upgrade. Just you wait, Dennis.
Yeah.
Just you wait, bud.
That sounds like a planted, very well negotiated, Dennis.
Yes.
That is so ridiculous, this one right here.
Yeah, it just the fish swam by. I was actually anchored in that, which is why there's all that kind of long striation on the sonar, or excuse me, on the side imaging. But that fish just like swam by, head down, must have just been perfectly perpendicular to the sonar.
Yep. Right speed.
Right speed. I'm like, that is... I remember when I took that shot, I'm like, does anybody think that that's not a sturgeon?
It's a shark, dude.
It's a shark.
You can see pectoral fins, anal, tail, dorsal, everything.
You can see the V in the tail.
You can actually take that and measure it out too, like how big that mark is. Like
Yikes.
There's a ruler on the Hummingbird feature, and so I could be like, yep, that thing was 5 foot long or whatever. There's some salmon. Now, a lot. Now this is where side imaging
cool.
for salmon fishing, anchor fishing is just absolutely paramount. I'm anchored up. I've got rocks to my, I'm just going to say just for all intents and purposes, my right side, my starboard side. The current is flowing obviously under the boat, but I've got rock on my right side and open water to my left. I'm obviously on the, I don't know, I guess it'd be the starboard bank. But I'm anchored up in the middle, and I got fish swimming between me and said bank. And those are 3 salmon right there that I've shot behind my gear, around my gear, and I didn't see them. Go to the next shot. And you guys are going to get what I'm saying out here in a second. Because if I am anchored up, and I keep seeing fish swim to one side or the other side of me, and I'm fishing like some high water or some salmon fishing, I want to get my gear in front of those little buggers. That's right. And so one thing,
how many schools do you have to see before you make your move?
Depends on what I'm fishing for. If it's sockeye and I'm seeing a lot, I'll make that move. If it's springer fishing or summer chinook fishing and I see them shotgunning like one at a time here, one at a time, I don't move for one fish. But when I notice a pattern, so sometimes it might take an hour or longer before I'm like, I got to move. And sometimes it's pretty obvious. Yeah. So outside the boat there, just keep rolling through these. And you just kind of see, yep, more fish swimming between on the outside of the boat there. I got the rocks on the right. This was a cool picture because once I've got rocks on my right side of the boat, fish on the left, I got a big fish.
Were you spot locked here?
No, I was anchored.
Anchored
in some pretty current. But what I did there is once I saw that mark on the right side, I threw a line with a millennial coon shrimp and a spinning glow off to the side, and I realized there was a few extra steelhead still poking around, swinging up those rocks, and I ripped the steelhead off. Once I saw that mark, but I wouldn't even have casted that line over there had I not seen that mark.
So that's just the beauty of having that detail in the mega imaging. When you see a head and tail, and you know the direction it's going, it gives you huge confidence that you're in the right spot, or you can just better understand what fish you're chasing, right? If it's sturgeon, that's an easy one. Some of the salmon, but we saw a difference, like I think 10 trillion smolts today, and
yeah, 10 trillion.
A lot of those.
Keep going. There's just some more salmon photos there on the right. Zoomed in. You see the tails on salmon. Salmon.
Sure.
Pretty incredible.
Those are 45 feet away from the boat.
A sturgeon mixed in with salmon.
I would say
sturgeon
yes.
on the left, salmon over there on the rocks on the right. Swimming by. Kokanee side imaging. Another one that's a great tool like a lot of people don't use. Shallow water kokanee fishing. Boat scares, like right here. Perfect shot. Boat is scaring. You can see in the top half of the screen.
Split the school, yeah.
Split the school. The fish are shallow. They're staying obviously 25 feet away from me. Probably each side. I think the right side's an echo, but the school's definitely on the left side. But the most important takeaway of this is in the bottom right corner is the sonar that's directly under my boat. And what am I seeing there?
No fish.
Not a damn thing. So if I'm running sonar up there and I'm trying to identify where there's a lot of kokanee at, and especially in the wintertime when the fish
we saw that too
tough,
the other day.
That's right. You want to know if you're fishing around fish, or you might not be fishing around fish at all, and you need to go find them. And if you're fishing around fish, then I can switch my presentations, my speed, my gear, my scent. I can play. But if I'm not around fish, I just need to find them.
So these are kokanee too. So back in my Great Lakes routes, somebody in your trolling spread, there's always a planer board, right? So you're running a line high in the water column. Maybe you go lead core onto that, but typically a little shallower. But that's a place where you'd say no fish on the left-hand side of the boat. You need to put something out on the right.
TJ, how do you know that they are shallow? Well, I'm not picking them. I kind of know this area. So it's 47 degrees. So I know I'm fishing up there winter, spring, late winter, springtime. I keep seeing them on my side imaging to my right and left, but I'm never seeing them under the boat. So I don't necessarily know exactly. They could be avoiding the boat, but I also understand kokanee that once they're down about 20, 30 feet, they don't generally flare from the boat as much. Once again, big school sitting over on the left side, nothing under the boat. Same gig. So at least I know I'm fishing around fish.
Crazy.
Now this one, okay. So to go back to your question, how do you know they're shallow? I really, like I said, I don't, but I understand kokanee won't flare if it's 25, 30 feet down. Now this is the one picture that it's kind of hard to grasp. Not hard to grasp, but maybe I'm just terrible at explaining it. Side imaging picks up fish on the sides of that transducer at 50 feet. But sometimes if they're straight under the boat at 50 feet too, it's going to show, it's not showing you depth, it's just showing you the distance out the side. When the sound goes on, the sonar goes out, it pings back. That's what it's showing. That's what it registers it as. Those fish could still be under the boat, but I'm going to utilize my sonar just to make sure that I'm going to identify that they are underneath the boat. If that made any sense at all. Because so TJ basically, if I'm marking them, like here's another one that I marked on my sonar, and you can see almost the shape of it, considering that I'm seeing them on the side imaging as well. That even though if I want to correlate the fact that I'm not seeing them on my under the boat sonar.
So that's a good point. So if you look at this screen, then at the bottom right, sonar, right? The fish are pretty much over those. But as you said earlier, the coverage, just because of the cone that, a sound wave, travels through the water, it's limited. And the side imaging goes out, you've got 100 feet to the right, 100 feet to the left. You're covering 200 feet of water and so much more than 128. So you're looking at 40 and a few feet of coverage on the bottom, right, at that depth. You've got 200 feet out left to right. And the point of all of that is to find either the fish you're chasing or the bait fish or some kind of structure. So that's where side imaging is a huge plus, to figure out where the fish are, the structure is that's going to hold them, as opposed to conventional sonar.
George B said, do all three of those run off one transducer?
In this case, yes, they do.
Might have caught a few
all in
here.
the box, too, by the way, George.
Wow.
How about that?
TJ says
That's
makes
a
sense
lot
to
of
me.
fish.
Yeah, that was definitely 44 degrees. That's definitely January fishing, where you
Nice.
control massive amounts of parts of the lake, and then you'll only find them in one.
Do I see a dodger
little
under the boat on the right-hand
area.
side? That little squiggly?
Could be the rock. I don't know what that could be. Could be the rock of a downrigger boat. Could be a dodger. I'm not sure. It probably wouldn't be, because if it's 44 degrees, I'm shoving all my gear way back behind the
Probably
boat.
windy.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna guess. Are you saying you
This
have
is like
multiple
show and tell.
transducers
Usually in
hooked up to
kindergarten, we
run
had
the
show and
system?
tell on Friday.
Gene, no, I only have one transducer, with the exception of since Jeff already stood up, Mega Live, which we'll show you here in a minute. Okay, I don't know why we have more salmon on the bottom. Squiggly line, TJ, you asked earlier, like the waves are the bouncing up and down.
That's it.
Example of bouncing up and down. Still going to see the marches, but I'm bouncing up and down. Oh, wait, go back. Get out of here. What's that? New. I'm Helix with just sonar. Think it's time to upgrade.
It is. When you get to the GPS part, the navigation, the waypoints,
He's
creating
just
a
straight
route.
up says,
yeah,
you know what it is.
Yeah.
It's just time.
It
Time
is.
to upgrade.
Because it's probably been a few years since you've only made a Helix with just sonar.
We still do. There are times when people just want an economical unit. There's a lot of people that, if you fish on some of the mountain lakes for ice in your area, and then some other places back home, you just want a really down and dirty sonar because you know the lake, and you're not worried about navigating, right? Your local pond, your farm pond, a small lake. Then a sonar only model
get
is
you there just
yeah,
fine.
we do that in many of the size of Helix. I'm not going to go into that deep, but especially on some of the smaller ones, sonar only, smaller sizes.
Makes sense. Perfect sense.
Okay, what's next?
What's next? Next is a weird screen. What is
Ooh,
that?
wow, what is that? That's
It's a baby,
that's
right?
salmon on a plank, is what that is.
That was a dead fish.
No, that was well. I don't know if it was dead.
I
It
don't
was
know, I
live
think we're
there,
Too busy.
but it may have been plucked out of that school. That was the new Mega Live. We had fun with that.
We had a lot of fun with that today.
Um,
And it doesn't really do it justice when
No.
the pictures are not live.
No.
So you got to realize that
you are correct.
what you're seeing. Go to the next one, Clint. Go to the next one. Get away. We're going to come back to those. Go to the next one. Next one. Why? Keep going. There we go. Go one more, though.
Ooh, I remember that one.
Go one more.
That's
I
a
think I
beauty.
got better ones of that.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that is a rock wall. So explain that. That
Yeah,
where we're
so-
at. So
Basically, guys, what
This
we
is
were
looking
doing
down.
with today is we were playing with the Mega Live system from Hummingbird. And what was really, really neat about this is there was a couple instances where we would go down the river and we would go, I don't even know if I even took a screenshot in landscape mode.
I don't.
Might have to
think
do a little
we
post
did.
afterwards. But
We'll have some little homework for tomorrow. You can share that next week.
that's exactly it. So, right here, though, as you can see, what we got is the boat, the transducer, is sitting up at the very top where that 0 is, and then that little angled piece with a little circle on it. That's essentially the back of the boat. And what I've done here is I've basically pointed that transducer at a rock wall with salmon sitting behind it. And as you can see, basically what that Hummingbird 𝗪𝗥𝗏 is doing is taking like an ultrasound of the water in real time. In real time, to the point where I'm pretty sure that some of those blips and some of those marks on there could even be like my bait. But you will actually watch these salmon swim around.
I'm trying to get a
from the
video.
line.
Nick's supposed to have sent me videos, and
The quality was
Oh.
terrible.
he's
though.
emailing them to me.
Oh, okay.
I'll take some tomorrow for you.
Yeah. And so we were running around the place, and I'm going to let the cat out of the bag on the first fish we got today.
Oh yeah.
Because we were sitting up against the bank,
Oh my gosh.
and we were doing landscape mode.
That was electric.
Back to us. And Jason, our camera guy, was back behind us, and we saw some fish moving from right to left, coming up the bank. And I'm like, oh, here they come.
But they
And I had a
flared.
twitching jig. And I fired to the left, and I think I put it on, because it's kind of shallow water.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like 6-8 feet. It was a chrome coho swimming. Fired to the left, and it hit the water, and I was twitching, and Jason goes, you turned them around. And like, I look at the screen, and they all went back the other way. I'm like, oh, you little buggers. And so I reeled up. I gave up on the cast. And they all went, I mean, this was a school of like 20 fish, 25 fish, what we were seeing on the 𝗪𝗥𝗏. But they literally started going up down the other bank. I'm like, oh, no, you didn't. Threw that way, hit the bottom, jigged about twice, and got smoked one tight. Just absolutely, fish just pile drived it.
How did that feel, knowing exactly where that fish was going?
I was just going to say, without video of this, it really doesn't mean anything to you guys yet. However, I guarantee over the next few weeks and over the next few months, you're going to see a lot of material come out on the 𝗪𝗥𝗏. And on my first impression, just today, being the first day that I've used it, seeing how the fish are reacting to the baits, seeing how the fish, you can pull up to a rock wall like that and look literally behind it or in front of it and see where those fish are staging, seeing if they're staging on the bottom, middle, top in real time. Seeing that if we pull, we would pull up to spots too that we would get too close to and flare fish away, and then they'd be gone.
Yeah.
And then most importantly, the one thing we quickly learned today was that if we were fishing in a spot and we weren't seeing those fish on 𝗪𝗥𝗏,
move on.
We were not catching those fish.
And so that's the one
At
thing.
all.
So you've spent years learning these rivers, right?
Yeah.
And side imaging and down imaging and sonar, and then you mark waypoints, you get all that data. But the one thing, those are kind of, it's like static data. It's like a snapshot in time. But the 𝗪𝗥𝗏, obviously, it's live. It's live sonar, and it's not, anything terribly new. But what we've done with 𝗪𝗥𝗏 is different and a little bit better, actually. And so looking at the attitude of those fish, when your jig went in, they flared. They didn't like that. But you at least knew which direction they went, and so you made a follow-up cast. So as an angler, in your mind, you can say, okay, I can make some adjustments and make the right presentation to the fish. You can only do that when you're watching them live.
The behavior.
Yeah.
And
Such
one
a great
thing I'm going
learning
to
tool.
add to this, too, this fish and why it was just kind of so special, too, is just because this wasn't a spot we just, pulled into and made one quick and then and got a lucky fish. This was a spot we pulled into, and we fished those fish kind of moving through and kind of doing. We were there for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, just trying to work some fish up.
Well, here's another thing.
I said, the material that you're just mind blowing.
It's coming. So we fished a hole for a while. We threw, I guess, twitching jigs, some were either hair or, synthetic fiber, whatever, or plastic, right? We went through that. And they weren't vibing with it. And so what did we put on a plug? And all of a sudden 2 fish came to the boat later on a plug. But we stayed in that hole because we knew fish were there. They were active. They were
this was
moving
another
about.
spot. This was
Correct.
down the river a little ways, yeah.
But having that data allows you to make the right adjustments as an angler. Or sometimes, when I look back, how many times we sat in a hole or anywhere and you're thinking, oh, they're just not here. Well, they were, but you just didn't have the right presentation, the right bait. So this is the kind of thing where an additional level of data helps you make those adjustments.
On both sides of that spectrum, with this technology that I saw today, you're going to figure out real fast. There was a couple holes we pulled up to that we didn't even fish. Like once we started learning like what salmon marks were and getting confidence in the Mega Live, like I mean, there was a couple of those hover holes. Like we would literally go through and like,
Yeah.
they're not here, guys.
No.
Like they're not here. There's no like.
Well,
I
you just got
scanned them on, they're
smolted
not
out.
here, or they're smolts, but the salmon
Yeah.
weren't there. You didn't have a chance. I mean, you got to have good fishing, like Jordan says. You got to have the main ingredient, and if the main ingredient ain't there, then you're moving on, or you should be moving on, or you can waste a half an hour or 45 minutes or hour trying to figure out if they're there. And on the flip side of that, if they are there and they're swimming around and they're laughing at you, change to plugs, change to where you're casting, maybe change the cadence and you're twitching. Try to do something because you can see behavior.
Eggs.
And there's nothing else out there that you can see behavior of the fish with.
You know, it's
That's
one
pretty cool.
more
It's, dude, wait.
tool in the toolbox. It's a pretty strong tool, though. And you know what else? You know, we haven't used it on salmon. I mean, this was the first time that we've done it here, and it was impressive.
You got any of the 360? You want to talk about that?
We did not utilize the 360 day because we were so falling in love with Mega Live. However, there was definitely, I've used Mega 360 before in a lot of these applications up and down the river. And when you're wanting to try to identify like where a weed line's coming out, when you're trying to identify where a stump is that maybe fish are rolling or holding behind, anything like that. Unfortunately, I don't know why I don't have any pictures of Mega 360, but there's applications there too. But they are two different applications. Mega 360 is really good for seeing around.
Let me dig into that because that's a good point. So, you know, there's an accessory product, the Mega 360, right? So that's like, and we've described it as an underwater radar. It shows you the fish and structure and bait fish in 360 degrees around the boat. So you're basically standing in the epicenter of that circle, right? The center of that wagon wheel. And then you get to see if there is fish out at 2 o'clock, that's where you make your cast, right? So you know where to cast that. And so it updates just like radar. And you can, you know, adjust the refresh rate so it updates faster if you wish or whatever. But you can see a white mark there, which is a fish. And the next time it updates, it's right here and then up here. So you know that fish kind of swam like this, but it's interrupted. Those are, again, static pieces of information where the Mega Live is nice in this sense. The data is live, but it's a narrower beam, right? 360 degrees is the full circle, so you get all the data around there, but it's just so much data you can't look at one slice. The Mega Live allows you to look at a slice, either vertically or horizontally that way, and then be able to understand what's going on in that slice with great precision, but in real time to watch the attitude of the fish.
Now we are talking bass fishing, and yeah, D. Morris, there are. And
bass fishing.
I know guys
Google this. Bass fishing. See, Cam had a little bass experience years ago.
I know guys that are utilizing the 360 to the fullest extent, and it's crazy what they're doing. But regardless of that, going back to Mega Live, one thing we want to just talk about too last night is we actually got a little taste. We went out for like an hour, and we were able to test some of the Mega Live stuff. You talked about flipping that beam horizontally.
Yes.
And there was some applications there where we were trolling 4 360s.
Oh my gosh!
And spinners. And
I don't know.
super baits.
Remind me how far back were
there were about 40 and 50 on the counters, and we could sit there and watch.
You can watch. You can even see your flasher,
flashers, and lures.
Sick. Oh, you can see your flasher rotating, and we got one fish to streak.
We got one fish to shoot on the right side.
You could watch the flasher just do this, and so here's one thing. So if you knew if it wasn't doing that, you knew your gear was fouled. You reel it in, you reset, right? It maybe sometimes one rod doesn't get a bite, then you know. But it was amazing to watch that.
And honestly, like on the trolling side of things, I just feel like as the more and more I think about all the different fisheries and the different techniques, there's almost always going to be a piece of time. Like, so just using it today, just thinking about it, like there's almost always going to be a piece of time where I can utilize that. And even when I'm trolling, and if I'm in an area that there's a lot of fish and I see fish coming up and turning away, you might see that a little bit with your sonars, but you're not seeing that in real time. You're not seeing that behavior again. I'm going to know at that point in time, if I'm flaring 5-6 fish away from my gear, I'm going to change that gear. I'm going to change that lure. I'm going to change that presentation. I'm going to change that scent. Like, there's going to be, you're going to hear, I can promise you right now, you're going to hear me talking about applications for Mega Live for years to come. Years to come.
It was an amazing epiphany last night, and you can see fish come into the spread, from behind or from the side, or you can see fish come here and all of a sudden turn and look at this, and then for whatever reason they didn't like it.
I would drop down the jig to the fish that were under the boat. I'd watch them the salmon kind of come up, think about it, and then go away, which really sucked. But but I knew they were looking at it. They weren't biting it, but I knew they were looking at it.
That's crazy.
No, it's gonna be interesting. And the guys that are gonna be embracing the technology and figuring it out and stuff like that, like I'm kind of realizing real quick in the bass world, are gonna be the guys that are gonna be taking it down. Yep. Any more questions, guys? Sonar, we got Jeff here. Giveaway. What are we doing, Marlon?
Yeah, we should definitely fall asleep. Yeah, I'm pretty tired.
How many people are watching?
No. It froze a while back at like. It froze a while back. I was trying to.
Do we break the internet tonight?
That's what happens a lot. It'll stop counting because it'll be and the comments will break a lot too.
Yep.
It's always a good live feed when you break it.
Yes, sir. Any more questions, guys?
We're running deep. It was a day filled with cannons today.
Oh yeah. And I'm tired.
What's the next thing in work?
Yeah. What's new?
What's the next thing?
What's the next thing coming out?
Well, I would just tell you it's the.
Yeah.
And then I really can't say beyond that. No, I can't say. I do get to look behind Oz's curtain. I will just say this in general. This is an absolute tease, a spoiler alert. The difficulty for us is which technologies are we going to launch and how soon can we get there. But there is a pretty good cadence of new things.
Where's the 360 live?
I don't know about a 360 live. That's a nice,
I just feel like
nice idea, but
I just feel like that's like the natural progression. Like you got 360, you got live. 360.
Physics of that are very difficult to put together.
You're only going to do it in horizontal mode and stuff, but that'd be interesting. What else could it be?
Let's just use the
best fish finder for around 500. So that would put you in the Helix model family. That would put you probably in, I don't know if you maybe a Helix 5-ish, somewhere in there around 500. You can get, just a smaller screen, so you can get side imaging and down imaging and the rest of that too. That's a good question.
Any
good
discount
question.
codes?
I
check with your local retailers.
Do not have any.
Promobile for the honeycoat. Nerds. Funny. I need sonar technology that isn't more expensive than my boat.
Dustin Disney, do you ever use sonar on your bow trolling motor? Yes. As a matter of fact, for years we would put an accessory transducer on there so you can get whatever kind of sonar you wanted. But now we have it built in right to the bottom of the transducer. So we have built-in down imaging and built-in mega side imaging, and it comes right in there. So the nice part about that is on the Minn Kota side, there's no cords running down the shaft of the trolling motor. It's all built in and it's nice and clean.
You're going to see that on my boat very soon.
Yes, you are.
Very soon.
You know what else? We hoverfish today. We didn't really talk about there's one little gadget that makes hoverfishing possible.
Yeah, talk about how you utilize just the trolling motor in general in the river.
What's that?
Can't
talk about it.
Spot lock. That was
utilizing spot lock technology, but that's been.
I never got to do that as I grew up in rivers, right? I mean, you had to drift, and then you had to go back over the hole, and then if you caught a fish, then you go back over. You fought a fish. If you got hung up, it was just a massive headache. But
also, being more quiet in the hole is huge too, right, Cam?
Oh, absolutely.
You're not running the big motor or the kicker, but pressing that button on spot
and not
lock.
to mention, too, like with the Mega Live, you could see that if you did pull into the hole with the gas motor, where the fish would go, and versus pulling in with the Tarova and spot lock.
That was a big difference maker.
Yeah, and you could literally watch it in real time.
That's crazy.
Literally the theory that,
and that's the nice part.
Drifting through the hole with the gas motor on, like I've always kind of like thought that was true just through fishing it.
Sure.
But like to see it like. Yep, that's what they do. They're gone.
And the fact that Hummingbird and Minn Kota are made by the same company, same kind of engineering. They do things together through the one boat network that you can't do with some other things. You can follow contours, you can mark waypoints, you can navigate to some other things, waypoints or whatever in routes. And so because you're running both of those, there's a whole different world open to you by staying with those two.
It's
And not to
pretty
mention that
nice.
spot lock is so important that they actually put it into kayaks.
Yeah. When you're fishing, definitely when you're fishing for bass, it's pretty awesome to go to your Hummingbird and be like, I'm just going to draw along this bank. Take me. It'll just do it for you. It's pretty awesome.
Good stuff.
Why is the company named Hummingbird?
Oh, that's a good. Who has that one?
Yeah.
Where is that?
Kyle Cox says, why is the company named
Kyle Cox.
Hummingbird.
Hummingbird. This is a true story. We're going to go back down memory lane.
Let's do it. I'm interested.
Tom Mann was the originator of Hummingbird in Eufaula, Alabama. And so Tom Mann was a good old Southern boy, and sometimes, they may or may not pronounce letters or words or whatever else. And so Tom had this, fish finder that he made, and he was whaling on fish. I'll kind of speed it up a little bit. He was whaling on fish with it. And he says, it's fast, it's like something that he knew, like a hummingbird. And so he told his buddies, and this is an absolute dead true story. He goes to his buddies around the shop and he says, I'm going to go get this trademarked. I'm going to go trademark this company, this name, Hummingbird. And the guys were like, Tom, you can't trademark the name of an animal. It's just, you can't do that. And he's like, watch, I'm going to do it. He sends away the papers. And sometime later, the papers come back, and he says, "Fine, I did it. It's trademarked." And the guys went, "Tom, that's genius. You called it Hummingbird."
So it was
it was Tom's misspelling of the word hummingbird, because it was misspelled. It was stylized, and it was given.
So clerical error, born.
I call it divine intervention, and thank God we're here this many years later. But that is a true story.
I'm going to use that story. Yeah. Tom Mann.
And so, when I do voice to text, the great Google says hummingbird. No, it's hummingbird. So I'm yelling at Google all the time, like there's no G in the hummingbird. But that's why. That's the rest of the story.
That is pretty cool.
And you know what else? They're still made in Eufaula, Alabama.
Eufaula, Alabama.
Hummingbird.
Cool. And do I use that around here, Dustin? Absolutely. How do you chase kokanee with your side view? You turn it on and let it ride.
And chase them.
Get some practice. Why do some boats use trolling salmon on the Columbia use a trolling motor on the front of the boat in conjunction with a kicker on the rear?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Great question here, Jumper. And the reason why is a couple reasons. One is battery life on long days of fishing, and if you are fighting weather and heavy currents in the Columbia River that we do, it's nice to have a little extra power. And so what they're doing is they're utilizing the forward thrust of their kicker, but then using their bow mount, whether it be a 12 volt, 20 volt, 24 or 36 volt, and depending on what models these guys are running that you're seeing, you don't know what they are. Some might have more power than others, maybe they don't, but what they're doing is they're utilizing the True North feature and keeping that track, basically using the pivot point on the bow as an autopilot. Yeah. And then using the thrust from the kicker. And so they get their speed to what they want, they get the direction they want, and then they tell the bow mount to just keep it going that way. And if the bow mount sees as it's going off course, it will turn and correct 360 degrees, whichever way it needs to do, it will correct and keep you on that line. So yes, there's a lot of guys using it.
Your trolling motor's not spooling at 10 speed the whole time.
Exactly, yeah.
When you get heavy current and wind with current and big boat, right?
Yeah.
That's a lot to ask of anything. So
even for a 36 volt, and like there's days that I can go out and run my 36 volt and get a day of fishing out of it.
Oh, for sure.
But like I said, if you're gonna fish a lot, fish 2 days in a row, you're camping somewhere, there's a lot of implications where you're just gonna want to use your kicker. And truth be told, most guys in the Northwest always have their kickers there already. The advent of using the bow mounts is definitely a new thing in the last few recent years. But there's a reason why you keep seeing them on a bunch of boats out there in the Columbia, because they work really well.
Do you guys run the extra big skags or whatever that people put on theirs?
Oh, the aftermarket ones? Yeah. I haven't.
I have one. I didn't put it on.
What do you guys think about that?
Oh,
the aftermarket skag to keep a little more of a rudder, like off the motorhead.
So it works.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of guys out here use them.
A lot of people use them, so then the motor's not having same concept. Motor's not having to spin up really high to always be doing it. You can turn it, and with currents and stuff, it's acting like a rudder, and it's turning.
Have you ever seen them, Jeff?
I've not seen
Basically,
those
just a
used,
big
no.
aluminum snag that hangs off the bottom and attaches
It's
to
like
the
a
bottom.
square about
Trolling
this
motor.
big, and it just kind of hooks to the bottom, and it rotates. It's clamped on to the head.
Yeah, it doesn't.
I have one. I love
Yeah.
it. On my Minn Kota.
Yeah, people guys are saying Skag, it works great. Yeah, I have not personally used it. Let's wrap up.
Sounds
You
good.
don't want to go? I thought this was a 24-hour marathon.
Oh,
Oh,
I'm
he
out.
does
Come on,
those.
man.
I'll do that, but
Seriously.
no, I ain't doing it tonight.
Did you know he does
Tapping
that?
out on me.
Talk about that real quick. What is that thing? That you
Tapping
do?
out. What do I do? Talk about fishing addicts. Like I could be, an adopted member of your brotherhood here. So I can't get enough fishing, Marlon. So
you just like
I fish one day a year. No, I help out a
But I just
charity.
go really hard on that one
It
day,
is.
damn it.
Fishing for Life is a charity, and they find mentors for a lot of our military families. Sometimes when they don't come home from battle, or they have some tough times. A group finds mentors for the kids. So I've fished for 24 hours straight to raise money and help them out for the last few years. And I did that 1 month and 2 days ago.
That's
I
great.
caught
Like
a pile of
legitimately
fish.
fish for 24 hours straight. What are you fishing for?
Typically panfish, because I've been really blessed in the world of fishing. So I was able to set a Guinness Book of World Records by grace of God in 2010 with 2,143 fish in 24 hours. But
So
in
insane.
the interest of continual improvement, was able to kind of raise the bar, thank God. So last month, September 11th, which is a big day for our nation, it was the 20th anniversary of September 11th. Was able to catch. Well, let me go back to this. The goal was to catch 2,977 fish. We wanted to honor all those who lost lives on 9/11, right? It's just the tip of the hat. We're trying to help people locally in raising some dollars. So we're able to do that, but landed on a final number of 3,168 fish in 24 hours. So you can find that on the Google, which is an absolute insane amount of
That is
fish.
so many fish. That's
Praise the Lord.
crazy.
And
It
what
was
are they? Perch,
incredible.
bluegill?
Bluegill's panfish. I wish they were salmon, right? But you can't.
No,
you can't fight
find
a
them
fish
that
in that.
fast,
In that.
no.
So, in order to raise the dollars, I pick a little smaller fish so we can raise like $1 fish. And there's a number of companies that helped us do
That's
that.
really cool.
Catch
And that's
rabbit outdoors.
Marathon Man Fishing.
Yeah, folks at Black Rifle Coffee Company helped me stay awake all night, which is really, really nice.
Yeah.
Because you need a little caffeine in those moments.
I bet.
Yeah,
I bet.
but it was a lot of fun. So we're going to go give it another day tomorrow.
Absolutely, we
Not,
are.
not 24 hours though, and not 3,100 some odd fish.
That would be
I
nice,
think we
though.
should try.
Maybe a couple hundred.
All right, Clint, let's pick one more winner here. This person's going to get a twitching jig and a package of our brand new line keepers.
The Twitch and Jigs work. I watched it today.
Just
Wanna
pick
ask a
someone.
question or is it-
Nope, just pick someone.
Okay.
People have been interacting this whole time, just random. There we go. Justa Pro. I like it, dude. Just a Pro.
Yes, George V. was your comment.
Just a Pro, you won yourself some line keepers
Wow.
and an addicted twitching jig. If you want to collect your prize, shoot us an email to orders@addicted.fishing. Include your name, your address, and let us know what you won, and we'll get it shipped out to you.
Orange and white.
What was
caught me
that
my
all the way
first
down
go.
at the
Great
bottom
show.
of the comments there? Most recent ones.
He says, love you guys.
Do it. Great show. Hell yeah, Lion Keepers. Sweet. Yep. Just a Pro. Email orders. You're good to go.
Cool. You guys got anything else you want to say?
Thanks for coming in, Jeff. We're going to be doing it again. You guys will be seeing a ton of Mega Live content, fun
Yes, there
stuff
will be.
as we go through the months.
Run deep. That's what I would say. I'm
Yeah,
ending on that.
run deep.
Little can,
I
a
like
little
it.
run deep.
Indeed.
All right, everyone.
Yeah.
Appreciate you guys tuning in. We'll see you on the river.
Later, guys.